One of the biggest struggles I've had in my whole life is focusing. I was never really officially diagnosed with ADHD, but I know how my brain works, you know? I mean, I could read an entire paragraph, get to the bottom, and realize that I don't remember what I just read, you know? I'm thinking about something that happened yesterday, thinking about something that might happen tomorrow, or 10 other things that have nothing to do with what I'm trying to learn, you know. And the most frustrating part is that I always knew I was capable. Even when I was young, I knew I could get good grades. I knew I could accomplish more, but I couldn't make myself sit still long enough to prove it. Later in life, though, I returned to college and I finally learned something important. I didn't need an hour to perfectly focus. I needed to focus completely for 5 minutes. That's it, just 5 minutes. You know, one subject, no phone, no TV, no distractions, no other windows open. I would read something, I would write it down, and then I'd try to ask myself questions about it. And I'd make sure I really understood it. 5 minutes, right? Then I can take my break and I come back again. And because I had to work so hard to focus, you guys, something interesting happened. And I think it would happen with a lot of people that struggle with focus. Is that when I finally focused, I went deep, like I do with most subjects I study. I didn't just memorize the information, I examined it, I questioned it, I made connections to it, right? And I looked at it from different perspectives. I really learned it. And that helped me earn my degrees, become a teacher, rebuild my health, improve my body, and accomplish things I only once imagined. I'm not saying I'm perfect now. I'm just saying that I've learned to focus a little more. I still struggle to focus though, you know. You know, today in our world, focusing might be harder than ever. We got the phones, right? We got computers, television, social media, messages, and all kinds of information coming at us all day. It's like having 20 windows open in your brain at the same time. Meditation has helped me some though, because it gives me practice in closing those windows. When I do meditate for just say, I think the longest I'll go is 16 minutes, right? It teaches me to notice when my mind wanders and bring it back, And the same skill helps me when I need to learn, or exercise, or improve my health, or lose weight, or solve a problem. And now, as a teacher, I see students who remind me of myself. They're intelligent, they're capable, but because they struggle to focus, they may start believing they cannot learn. But it's not necessarily true. Sometimes they need a different approach. I got to say, without the technology, it would have been difficult for me because we have this technology here. We got the voice, you can record stuff. You can basically, nowadays with AI, I mean, you can do anything, right? So learning could be more fun now because you're not just typing. When I was growing up, yeah, typewriters, literally, before the computers. So just imagine, right? But you could focus because you didn't have the phones yet, right? So anyway, so here's a challenge. Choose one thing that you need to learn or improve. Turn off everything else. Give it 5 uninterrupted minutes every day. Read it, Write something down. Get like a notepad or something, right? That's your focus notepad, okay? Ask a question and make sure you really understand it, especially if you're young. You know, you really need to listen to me. Listen to this message. You have no idea what you can become by practicing 5 minutes a day of real focus. You don't need perfect focus, okay? You just need 5 honest minutes. That's how you train your attention. That's how you learn. And that may be how you can finally prove to yourself, you know, what you were capable of all along.